Is your mechanical keyboard dirty? Yeah, mine too. Let's see if we can fix that. So as you can probably tell from those clips, I do have a cat, and this particular cat seems to live on my desk. As a result of this, her fur is pretty much everywhere, specifically underneath the keycaps on my keyboard. Now I am also prone to the occasional all-night gaming session, and of course, like any other gaming session, that does involve copious amounts of Mountain Dew and Doritos. So over the last 4 years since I last cleaned this keyboard, it has gotten a little bit dirty. Now, cleaning this keyboard, or any other mechanical keyboard for that matter, is actually relatively straightforward. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get all of the keycaps off the keyboard. Now you can use a special keycap pulling tool like the one I have here. I'll have a link to that in the description so you can purchase it off Amazon. This just makes it a lot easier to actually pull the keycaps off the keyboard. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is it's a good idea to take a photo of the keyboard before you take all of the keycaps off. This just makes it a lot easier when you come to put them back on when you finish cleaning. Now, just continue removing all of the keycaps and put them in a neat pile to the side of the keyboard. Now, once you get some of the bigger keys off, such as the spacebar, you can really start to see all of the dirt and the grime and the fur caught underneath those keycaps. Next, we want to clean the keycaps first. We just need a little bit of dishwashing detergent and some warm water. So you want to make sure the water is warm but not too hot, otherwise you could actually melt the plastic. And then you want to put a little bit of dishwashing detergent into a bowl or a cup, whatever you've got there, and fill it all up with the warm water. Then we are simply just going to put all of the keycaps into the warm soapy water, and we're going to give them a bit of a mix around for about 30 seconds or so, and then we're actually just going to leave them there for 15 to 20 minutes. Now this is going to try and dissolve all of that grease, some of the grime, make it a little bit easier to wipe off in the next stage, but you really want to let it sit there for a little bit to let the detergent soak into the dirt so it comes off. You can actually see a little bit of the dirt and the grime swirling around in the water. Now after about 15 to 20 minutes, you want to come and have a look at them. They should be feeling a lot cleaner in the hand. A quick tip to get all of the soap out of the bowl and the keycaps is just to run the whole thing under cold, clean water for about 30 seconds to a minute. And what this does is it's going to push the soap out the top. As you can see there, the soap suds are getting smaller and smaller. After about 30 seconds, it'll actually be clean and there'll be very little soap residue in the bowl. Now the next step is to clean the keys with a towel or some kind of rag. So you want to give it a good scrub, and you also want to give it a good tap against the rag or a table, because you want to try and get all of that moisture and water out from underneath the actual keycap. So generally I'll tap it a few times in my hand, and then I'll tap it a few times when I put it down on a clean towel. Once you've done all of the keycaps, you want to leave them there for a couple of hours to dry, and this is when you can actually switch over to the keyboard. For the keyboard, you want to use some kind of soft bristled brush. I don't recommend actually vacuuming it because that introduces a lot of static electricity to the keyboard. Right now I'm just using one of the Dyson attachments, and I'm just basically brushing the keyboard. You can see all of the crumbs and the cat fur comes off pretty easily during this stage. Don't be afraid to be a little bit rough with a soft bristled brush, because mechanical keyboards by their nature are fairly sturdy. Getting the dirt and the grime off the actual base of the keyboard itself is also relatively straightforward. You just want to obviously make sure it's unplugged and there's no power going to it. Get a Q-tip or a cotton bud, damp the tip slightly, and just run it across the length of the keyboard. You just want to do a little bit of scrubbing here and there, get those pieces of gunk off. I have seen some people use methylated spirits or some kind of alcohol-based cleaner, but I generally just prefer staying with water because it's quite safe and you only need a tiny little bit. As you can see there, after about 2 or 3 minutes with the Q-tip, it is pretty much brand new. Now this is the fun part, or maybe the not so fun part if you forgot to take a photo of your keyboard. You want to make sure all of the key caps are dry, and if they are, you can then start to put them back onto the keyboard one by one. Now even if you do have a photo, you'll probably screw it up once or twice like me, so don't be too hard on yourself. So that is pretty much it. You've now got a keyboard that is essentially brand new. It's shiny, it looks pretty slick, and it should hopefully stay that way for at least a couple of weeks or months, or in my case, hours, because the cat came straight back and sat on it. Anyway, that's it from me for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did like it, or if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I do try to answer all of the comments on my videos. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.